loathe it, travel is one big hot topic at the moment, and many of our members have been asking questions on everything from PR and travel clients to where on earth everyone's going to get to this summer. So thank you so much for being with us today. And I am, of course, referring to you, Lindsay Thomas, travel expert, founder and CEO of girlabout.co.uk. Welcome. Tell us about Girl About, first of all, and a bit about yourself.
Hi, well, thank you for having me again. It's great to be here. I am Lindsay, and I am the founder of Girl About and the Girl About Travel Club. Girl About was founded 4 years ago. It started off as my little blog as Girl About Yorkshire, and it basically evolved into a nationwide brand. And now we have over 25 women representing their cities and counties across the UK. And then last year, in the middle of a pandemic, we decided to launch the Girl About Travel Club. I'm a travel industry expert. I've got 20 plus years of global travel industry experience working for big international tourism boards such as I Love New York and Toronto Tourism and Kennedy Space Centre. So I have lots of experience within the global travel sector. I moved back to Yorkshire from London after a wonderfully glitzy career in London, travelling all over the world about 4 years ago, and started my own small boutique travel marketing and comms agency, which is separate to Girl About. And I have also been, or up until COVID hit, I was also serving some sort of local Yorkshire clients as well. So I've sort of got a great background in big corporate government clients and much smaller local travel clients as well.
Fabulous. So we were talking earlier about the importance of PR. How important is the role of PR right now in the travel sector?
I think the role of PR is important in any sector at any point, because at the end of the day, it is free publicity. PR has always been a key part of the mix for travel. There are so many travel titles out there, so many travel magazines, but also so many travel influencers, so many travel blogs, so many travel platforms. So there's really lots of opportunity to get your travel brand out there.
And in terms of doing exactly that, what is your advice to PR's pitching features in the hope of landing the media coverage?
Well, as I've just mentioned, I have worked for some big travel brands, and for the big travel brands, it's much easier because they have big budgets. So that means they can run what we call press trips, which means, the PRs can liaise with the journalists and get them over to wherever it is that they're PRing. But obviously, there's many of us, including myself, that are businesses with limited or absolutely no PR budget. So, it's really about getting creative and using, those free channels such as social media. PR really falls into two categories, news and storytelling. I think the days are gone really when offers were able to really translate into media coverage. 5-10 years ago, there was plenty of travel publications wanting, great offers here and great offers there. But now it's about storytelling, and it's about your brand's purpose, and that is what sets you apart. And I think, it's also, news is very reactive. You're waiting for the news. So if you're a hotel in Croatia, for example, and Croatia's just gone on the green list in the UK, of course, that's going to be your opportunity to newsjack, as we call it. But, if we're storytelling, then it's a much more purpose-driven, a much more proactive sort of PR way of, a PR initiative. And, it's about pitching stories to the media. It's about making your brand stand out. And it's about pitching your brand to the right media as well. So you really need to know your purpose. You need to know your brand's purpose. You need to know your USPs, your unique selling points. And you really need to know, which media that your travel brand really aligns with, whether that's traditional media, whether that's a specific journalist who might have an interest in something that your travel brand offers. A good example would be, we've got a brilliant hotel up the road from us. It's one of my favourite hotels in Yorkshire, the Devonshire Arms at Bolton Abbey. Now, they are very dog friendly. They do all sorts of doggy stuff. So if I'm the PR for the Devonshire Arms up at Bolton Abbey, I'm going to go and I'm going to research, and I'm going to go on LinkedIn and Twitter, and I'm going to find out which journalists have dogs, aren't I? And then I'm going to pitch my story to them. Other advice would be, don't underestimate the power of the micro influencer. Now, my travel brand, Girl About, and the Girl About Travel Club, as I mentioned earlier, Girl About is basically built on a network of women across the UK. Now, each of these ambassadors for Girl About have their own Instagram, and they are micro-influencing their local areas really, really successfully. You know, the engagement is through the roof in some cases. So, you know, it's really important that you don't underestimate the power of these, you know, these small influencers. They may only have 5,000 or 6,000 followers, but they could also be, from a cost benefit perspective, really useful for you. And finally, I think networking as well. Networking, again, find out who your business aligns with. Getting media coverage is not always about what you know. It can be sometimes about who you know as well. So again, network, again, get onto LinkedIn, get your local papers, get the national papers, go into the travel sections, go get the magazines, look at the, you know, that first page in any magazine will tell you who the editor of that magazine is. Go onto Twitter, stalk them, find out what their interests are. Again, this is all free to do. And also, finally, I will stop talking in a minute, I promise. There's a great tool on Twitter, a great hashtag called journal requests. So you can jump on there, and if you use that hashtag, that is pretty well known in the industry, and you know, across PR, for any journalists that are looking for help with a story or help with something for their feature. So hashtag journal requests.
So, Lindsay, you mentioned before creativity, which is obviously hugely important. In your opinion, which would you say have been the best travel campaigns that perhaps you've noticed during COVID?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. And I have a list. So again, I will try and be as quick as I can. I think for me, number one has got to be Jet2. I think you mentioned Jet2, Lee. For me, Jet2 have been the rising stars or the shining stars throughout COVID. Not only, I mean, they put great campaigns out there anyway, but they, you know, they've continued to champion the consumer, and they've also stuck to their promises when a lot of travel companies haven't, and that has really raised their profile and put them in the top spot. You know, that hasn't cost them anything, really. All they have done is just kept their credibility and done what they needed to do for the consumer. So that for me is number one, Jet2. And other great campaigns that sort of I've seen and thought, oh, I love that. Iceland did the Joy Stroll campaign. That was a really cool campaign. It was all about stop doom scrolling, stop looking at all the, you know, the negativity on social media, and, you know, bring joy into your life. And they sort of jumped onto the back of that with their, you know, their content. I'm going to blow my own trumpet a little bit here, because we've done some, you know, I think pretty awesome campaigns over COVID. In my marketing agency capacity, we had a lovely client called the Hideaways Club, and they are a company that has the most amazing villas, and their name, of course, is the Hideaways Club. And when COVID hit, you know, we looked at how could we continue to keep their name out there while people couldn't travel. And the ethos of their brand was making memories and, you know, bringing families together. And we knew that more than ever after COVID, you know, after COVID was out of the way, that we'd all want to be making more memories with family. That would be number one. And of course it is. So right at the beginning, when COVID hit, we came up with a campaign called Hideaway at Home. So it was taking the Hideaway, you know, the name of the business, and incorporating that into a campaign, using a lot of stock video, but also some of their own. It was about 300 quid it cost altogether. We put this lovely video together that really conjured up, you know, making that time at home count, but then looking forward to making those memories in the future. And that, you know, it was a Facebook campaign. We spent minimal amounts on it, and that did really, really, really well in terms of reach and engagement. Something else that we did as well for Girl About, which was long before TUI did it, and TUI doing it right now. We launched our hashtag I'm a travel addict campaign. And we asked our network of girls across the UK to create a short clip of them at home doing something that they might do generally on holiday. So, one of the ladies was in the bath with the snorkels on. There was another lady on a treadmill, with a handbag, and there was some amazing clips, and we put all those together. And again, cost us nothing. We bought a small prize, and we asked, we put the small short, a minute-long video out on social, and we asked people to submit their own short videos, and we had a great response. It was fabulous. So that there's all sorts of stuff you can do creatively. I think the one complete disaster was Ryanair's Jab and Go. In my personal opinion, I thought that was awful. But I think some of the best campaigns have been the ones with the most limited budgets. There are loads and loads of amazing, small campaigns where people have not spent a great deal at all.
And I think that goes not just, in terms of travel PR and campaigns, but I think it's wider than that. I don't think you necessarily have to have a big budget to make a PR campaign that's successful. So obviously we're talking about travel. There's been a few bleak announcements, some may say. What are your views on how the travel landscape is looking for the future?
Sorry, you've thrown me there because there was a question in between, but it's fine, don't worry. So in terms of my views of the travel landscape, honestly, right now, I have no idea, Lee, at all. I mean, there's no point in me pretending that I have, because I haven't. I mean, there just seems to be an agenda out there from the government. I think the traffic light system is incredibly confusing. I mean, France on an Amber Plus list has completely thrown us, hasn't it, this week, really? There's much lower infection rates in France than there is in Spain. So, we start to question, the public is starting to question, what's the agenda here? Is it making more money on tests? Because, if Amber Plus people have to self-isolate, there's a second test involved. What is the agenda here? So it's our rates are soaring. Some countries don't want us in. For me, it's just confusing and frustrating. And I think from a PR perspective, I think travel brands need to be really careful right now, unless they really, really know what they're talking about in relation to the travel landscape. Just be careful, because it is so easy to give out the wrong information. I mean, I put some information in our group this week, and I got something wrong, and it was only when I was picked up on it by a member, by one of our community people, that she was right. And there is so much conflicting information out there right now, so be really careful, because it can really impact on the credibility of your brand. Should travel brands be using storytelling to gain media coverage? Absolutely, all the time.
I love it. I always love storytelling, that. So you obviously just mentioned the latest travel advice, and France, was supposed to be going there myself, not now. What are your tips then? Come on, give us the inside info. What should we be looking to do this summer, both sort of nationally and internationally?
Well, I think, for me, we'll talk internationally first. My tip would be, first of all, go onto the the official government website. And there's a really handy tool on there which allows you to get updates into your inbox when a destination is planning on, when a destination changes its policy. So if you're planning on traveling to Spain, like I am, in a couple of weeks, for example, I've gone onto, the website, the government website, and I've typed in Spain, and it allows you to then ask for alerts. So straight away, I'm getting those official alerts, because really, we should all be focusing on the Gov website. We shouldn't be focusing on, the red top sensationalized headlines and people that, basically, self-confessed travel experts giving reviews and predictions everywhere right now. And it's really, really damaging. We are not giving predictions as a brand. We are trying to help people navigate by looking at all the factors and advising them. But that is purely advice, with, the caveat that this could change at any time. But if you are hell-bent on going abroad, then book a package holiday. And I say this over and over, use a credit card, get COVID covered insurance straight away as soon as you book, and book via a company with a flexible booking policy. So if you're using a good independent travel agent, they will take care of all of that for you. They will, they have access to hundreds and thousands of tour operators with these incredible, flexible policies. They will use those businesses to ensure that you get the absolute best deal, and also the holiday that is going to be, hopefully, you're going to be able to potentially wriggle out of if you need to. Again, don't be ruled by sensational headlines. And finally, join our Facebook group, which is the Girl About Travel community on Facebook. We have over 3,000 members in it. And we're really here to help anybody navigate through all of this. We're non-biased, we're straight talking. We're not affiliated with any newspapers or any media or any tour operator. We're on the consumer side, and we have been for the last 18 months. We've really helped some women and men to navigate through this, what essentially is, the shitstorm, really. So, yeah.
Thank you. And what about nationally in this country? Where would you suggest that we look to get away to?
So nationally, everywhere's open, isn't it? It's great. The UK, England is going to have a roaring summer. It really is. I think right now, with 2 days to go until the school's break up, if you've not booked something in the UK, then, you might be hard pushed, but there are some ways of doing it. So first of all, I know for a fact that there's been a lot of people that have been hedging bets on holidays. So they've been booking holidays abroad, and then they'll also book one in the UK just in case, because if the holiday in Spain or Greece, for example, doesn't happen, then they can go, to their destination of choice in the UK. So, if you've not got anything booked, then, ring up places that may be booked up online and say, look, can you put me on a waiting list? If somebody doesn't turn up, there's going to be lots and lots of cancellations, I think. When people don't spend money on something and don't pay a deposit until we get there, there's no commitment. So, and that unfortunately, is the double-edged sword of what's going on. We put together an amazing collection of UK or English hotels recommended by all of our ambassadors across England. There's 50 independent, family-friendly hotels in that brochure. It can be downloaded at girlabout.co.uk for free. All of those hotels we have rated with our own star rating system, which is very much focused on families and not businessmen. As I said, they're all independent. And I think the hotels, there's probably going to be more availability within the hotels than there might be within those posh glamp sites or, these slightly wackier places to stay. So don't just assume that a hotel that might otherwise be really expensive, is going to be out of your price range, because actually what we're seeing is the glamping sites are really hiking their prices, but actually some of those hotels, are desperate to fill their rooms still. So they, it might become actually better value. So yeah, that would be my advice there.
Thank you so much for being with us. We're very grateful, and we can't wait to follow you and get all your advice over the summer and beyond.
Thank you. Well, if anybody does want any advice, as I mentioned, you can, of course, jump into our free Facebook community group on Facebook, Girl About Travel Community, and we are at girlabout.travel on Instagram. So come and join us, because all of our content is flitting between those two channels, and we are absolutely here to help and advise you, get you through it, and ultimately get people on holiday, because that's what we want to do, don't we?
We do. Thanks so much again.
Thank you.